Hi there guys, and welcome once again to Jonesy's vlog. So I'm not going to spend too much talking about the match from last night because I think, well, there's a lot more pressing issues to be discussing really. So anyway, let's start off with the match, and well, it was pretty dire really. I think it was clear to see it was two pretty poor teams. Fair enough, I mean, conditions were ideal and the pitch wasn't great, what with all the weather that we've had recently, but just a game of very little skill, not many chances, a hell of a lot of long balls, just hopeless hoofed balls upfield. I mean, that first half of football was, well, it was pretty atrocious really. Second half, obviously Ipswich took the lead through a speculative effort from McGoldrick, and what Kenny was doing, I've really no idea. I mean, I've stuck up for him this season. You know, I think he's done all right, but there's no excuse for that. I mean, it's just very poor keeping. And then, you know, we got back in through the penalty. It was well won by Stewart. Clear penalty, obvious penalty, and Ross took the penalty really well, and I mean, that was pretty much it. That's the thing is, there's not really that much to say about the game. I mean, from our point of view, no one stood out, just like they haven't really the past sort of few games. No creativity once again. I mean, the only chances we had was that goal mouth scramble just after the penalty. McCormack forced their keeper into a decent save, tipping it around the post. It was very much limited to long range efforts. You know, there was no real clear cut chances really for both sides, and I mean that showed with the goals. You know, a long range speculative effort and a penalty. Again for us, I mean, Kebe, as has been said by many, it was awful performance. I mean, for me it was like Bambi on ice from him really. Cameron Stewart looked like he was getting back into the game a little bit, but again, very disappointing with his sort of final balls into the box. His control still needs a bit of improvement by the looks of things. Nothing from midfield as usual, which meant there was nothing from up front. I mean, McCormack couldn't get into the game. Diouf, again, hardly had any touches really. Defence, I mean, there were some pretty decent tackles going in. Defensively, I thought we did alright, but I mean, when you sort of hanging on to that as a positive, you know, you can see it's been a pretty poor game. So that's really all to say about that. I mean, yes, it's good to get a point after such a poor run of form recently, but apart from that, nothing too good to take from it. Incidentally, the atmosphere in the South Stand in SS5 particularly was magnificent. I mean, my voice is a little bit hoarse. I mean, it was really great to see it happen. SS5 and SS6 were really getting involved, and it'd just be nice for it to spread round. I mean, I know, you know, you've got to have something going on the pitch for an atmosphere, a real atmosphere to be created. But you know, up until that point, you've got to try and get some sort of atmosphere into the ground and into the game, because you know, if people just want to go and sit there in silence just watching a game, then, you know, on Saturdays just go to your local morgue or something if that's what you want to do, because you've got to go and support your team, and it's not just good enough paying your ticket and just sitting there. You know, you've got to go and support your team. 'Cause I mean, I don't know what's happened in the Cop recently, but for the past few weeks there just seems to be absolutely no atmosphere coming from there whatsoever. And I mean, last night in the South Stand, I mean, no matter how bad that first half was, it was just non-stop singing, and although the football was terrible, I haven't enjoyed myself like that at a game for absolutely ages. So it'd be nice to see, you know, that kind of atmosphere sort of just slowly spread round the ground, and get that good feeling, you know, at least back into the stands, even if it's not happening onto the pitch. Because, you know, we've been through so much shit together, Leeds fans, and, you know, we all need to stick together, and we need to try and get ourselves through it, because, you know, just sitting back and letting it all happen isn't the way to go. So for me, that was a big positive from last night. So going on from the game, McDermott's interview afterwards on Radio Leeds was sensational really. I don't think I've quite heard a manager sort of come out and speak so passionately and so openly about, you know, what's going on, you know, up above his head, you know, with the owners and everything. I mean, he was so brutally honest with everything, and it was, you know, obviously it's not nice to hear and not good to hear, because obviously there's major problems at the club at the moment, but it was good to hear him speak like that. And because let's be honest, that's probably the most open and the most insight that we've had into what's going on, you know, over the past month, really. And the fact it had to come from McDermott is quite worrying. I mean, he said that there's things gone on over the past few days that are unpleasant, and that he doesn't feel should happen in football. Saying that it's, you know, he's been through a lot in football, but the last few days particularly have been some of the most testing that he's encountered. Saying how, you know, it's clearly affecting him and the players. You know, he made the point, which I think we can all see, that the fact that, you know, a month ago we seem to have a team and a club and a squad that were harmonised and were actually going forward, whereas now it isn't, and everything seems to have been sort of broken apart. And I mean, if you go back a month in my videos, you will see that change, and if you watch them through, you see how about, you know, just over a month ago, you know, things were looking up, things were a lot more positive, but in that month, things have just changed like that. And the fact that McDermott's saying that, I mean, it just shows that things have been going on behind the scenes that we might not hear about, but the fact that it's got down to that level and is clearly affecting the staff and the players, I mean, it just shouldn't happen. And it's, you know, for all that I've said about GFH and all the good that they've done, which they had done, this past month for me has just completely undone all that, and it's so disappointing, and it's disgraceful that how everything's been dealt with. I mean, McDermott's just basically been left to hang out and dry, really, hasn't he? You know, he wanted, what was it, a list of 4 or 5 players, and we've got in two loan players with the view to sign at the end of the season or whatever. But that's, you know, if he's been promised some money, which, I mean, they said before the transfer window that they were going to have it all done and sorted for January, which it hasn't been done, and now we get to this stage, and it's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, right now on Twitter, I mean, it's all going into meltdown. I mean, there's talk about GFH haven't even got the money to pay the players' wages, which I don't, whether that's true or not, I don't know. I have no idea. You know, there's talks of administration. I mean, these might all be rumours. I mean, I really have no idea. But it causes all this. See, this is the thing, you know, if people don't come out and talk and things aren't sorted, then it goes into meltdown, and you can't blame people for being like that. And I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if GFH can't pay the players' wages, because I mean, there's been so many reports and so many people saying things about the fact they have no money. So I mean, they clearly can't have that much. You know, they clearly must be struggling somewhere. So it wouldn't surprise me. I'm not saying it is the case, but I'm just saying it wouldn't surprise me. So there's that. Then there's talk of Massimo Cellino. It looks like he's probably going to be the guy that's coming in. Andrew Flowers, that was with Sport Capital, he seems to have stepped back and he's not involved in it anymore. But for me, I mean, I don't know what anyone else thinks, but for me, if this Cellino gets involved, then I'm really worried, because I don't care how much money he has. He's a guy who clearly doesn't know the correct way of running a club. He seems to go through managers like he does clean shirts. I don't think many of the managers he's had have gone into second years or whatever, even if they've won stuff at the club. He's been involved in illegal activity. I think is he waiting a trial for embezzlement or something, or been involved in money laundering, got criminal convictions. Is that really who we want running our club, even if he's got money? I mean, we need stability at this club. I mean, McDermott said that last night. You know, he's been brought in to stabilise this club. And for me, if this Cellino guy was to come in, I get the feeling he'd probably sack McDermott straight away. I mean, I seriously don't care about the money at this point. I just want our club to be stable, really. The way that we've got into at the moment. And if this Italian guy comes in, I can see it just all going even more downhill. and it's really worrying. And I mean, it seems as though maybe his son, maybe the guy that might front it, because then it would be him that would get the fit and proper persons test or whatever. Because I mean, if that Cellino guy was to have it, then he wouldn't be getting in, would he? So it's just a mess. It's an absolute mess. But it's a mess that needs sorting out this week. It needs doing now. But for me, it needs to be done in the right way. You know, I don't just want any old guy in who's going to ruin the club. You know, something just needs sorting, and it needs stabilising again, because it's really not looking good. So that's all I've got to say, guys. Really, not the most uplifting vlog, but there's nothing uplifting to say. Oh yeah, Varney refused to play last night because he wants to go to Blackburn, so good riddance to him. So that's all I've got to say, guys, really. So yeah, let me know your thoughts. I mean, if you were at the game last night, I'm guessing there's not much for you to say because there was that little happening. But you know, let me know your thoughts of off the field matters. If you would be happy for this Cellino guy to come in, how you think it could be sorted. If you've listened to McDermott's interview last night, what you made of that. I think if I can, I'll try and put a link in the description below for those of you that didn't hear it, but it is well worth a listen. Like I say, probably one of the best interviews I've heard in a long while, and Adam Pope from Radio-Leeds did a really great job of it. So yeah, I'll leave it there, guys. So get in touch either in the comments below or on my Twitter at ChrisJonesLUFC, and hopefully I will speak to you all at the weekend in hopefully a happier mood. So thank you very much for watching, guys, and I will see you soon.